Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Major from InfamousTechBlog.com, and right now you're looking at the Palm Pixi Plus, available on Verizon Wireless, and this is my review. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is the second, of the Palm devices that I've had the chance to play around with. This phone, kind of like the Pre, has been around for a little while now, over on Sprint first, but then it made its way over to Verizon. And the Pixi Plus, a lot of similarities. They're both running WebOS 1.3.5. So, interface-wise, they're, almost interchangeable. The one thing that you'll notice about the hardware on the Pixi is it is a smaller screen. It's a taller device than the actual Pre, as you can see here. And it's also a thinner device. And, obviously it's not a slider. Pretty much everything, that there is to see on this phone is right here, on the front. And you got your full QWERTY keyboard down here at the bottom. But yeah, it's a 2.6-inch display as opposed to 3.1. The resolution on this device is 320 by 400 as opposed to 320 by 480 on the Pre. 8 gigabytes of storage come preloaded on the device as opposed to the 16. Also, this is Wi-Fi enabled, which is something that the original Pixi was lacking. But it, rest assured, it's available on this phone, and it's 256 megabytes of RAM. And pretty much, let you guys get an up-close look at the keyboard and some of the keys. And up here at the top, you've got your lock button over here, your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and there's your 2.0 megapixel camera with flash. Takes pretty decent pictures. And then over here on this side, you got your volume rocker, and then not quite the same suede material you get on the Pre Plus, but that same, rubberized backing that a lot of the smartphones are coming with right now with your Palm branding. And then over here on this device, you got your charger access point right there. So, the hardware is pretty, minimal. It's not a lot to it, but it is a pretty sturdy device. Just a little on the small side, and that 2.6-inch screen is a little bit small. For me, sometimes you'll notice it when you're navigating and it seems like you just run out of real estate. But all in all, man, pretty solid construction, on the hardware. Getting into the software on the Palm Pixi Plus, pretty much the same thing that makes the Pre Plus a standout device applies to the Pixi. You've got WebOS 1.3.5 with 1.4 most likely on the way pretty soon. And really, even though this phone has a little less horsepower, it's got 256 megabytes of RAM as opposed to 512, you really don't notice any slowdown. All the same gestures that you would use on the Pre Plus, apply here. It's no different, and it's pretty much the identical experience, across the phones. The only difference really being, the screen size. In most of my tests, I noticed I didn't notice any real noticeable differences, as far as speed of opening applications, or maybe a little slight difference in web browsing, but browsing is actually very good on this phone as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the email client. I'm going to pull that up, and this does have full Microsoft Exchange support with Active Sync. As you can already see, I've got a Gmail account set up, and you can set up multiples. You can keep adding them, and they'll all, they'll all come in just the same. And it's actually very fast. As soon as those mails hit your, Gmail inbox, they're getting bounced right over to the phone. No delay there. I'll go ahead and bring up messaging, and I will do a real quick sample text message just so you guys can see, how easy typing on this phone really is. And the keyboard is actually nice and clicky. You can hear, really hear the feedback that those keys give you as you're typing. And there you go. And you can see here, this would be, the second message in an ongoing string. And then I could easily, just as easily switch over and go to Google Talk or AIM, if the person I was corresponding with had either of those type of, chat clients. So messaging is, real nice, super easy to use. The apps catalog is the same. You know, obviously there's no differences there. You know, Palm still has a ways to go. I think you give the developers some time, you know, a few months down the road, they'll have a, you know, lot larger catalog. But one thing that this phone does do well, it actually plays, you know, plays games very nicely. I think, you know, gaming is definitely a strength of WebOS, but just their app count, you know, needs to get higher, and I'm sure it will, you know, down the road. But, you know, top to bottom, you know, just a real solid feel and just a great experience using this interface. Also, the mobile hotspot feature, I have not installed it fully on this phone. I did a full review of the Pre Plus, so you can kind of, you know, see how that works. I'm going to back out of it now, but basically that same functionality that exists on a Pre exists here, where you can take your phone, install that application, and for the $40 a month, you know, extra service fee, this phone can act as a 3G, you know, access point or 3G hotspot for wireless printers, laptops, whatever you need. You know, you can latch it on. So for the, you know, person that's on the go and needs internet access, you know, for their laptop, you know, or what have you, you know, that would definitely be, you know, a very viable option. So I think that pretty much rounds it out for the software. Big time fan of WebOS. I think it's one of the, you know, one of the premier operating systems out there, and I think it definitely holds its own with, you know, Android or Apple's OS as well. So let's go ahead and turn the attention over to multimedia, and we'll check out how this phone does there.